Hello, everybody. Welcome back. The topic that we have for you today is
respect versus fear. Because we realize in our culture, we also mentioned before, we don't have an emotional language. We don't have emotional connection. At least we don't know what that is. So then we realize we grew up in a culture where our parents believe in creating fear, instilling fear, and maintaining fear in us versus respect. They might look similar, they might feel similar, but they're not the same.
No.
Let us know what your experience have been, because we're gonna dive into it and make the difference between the two and what builds a good relationship between a parent and the children or kids. So,
What is fear? When you watch a scary movie, you get afraid. For me, I can't watch a zombie movie because I'll go to bed and I won't sleep for a week, right? That's the type of fear we know. If we're talking about fear, that drive between fear to control
a relationship,
that's different, right? The parents makes you afraid of them so that they can control you, right? They can make sure you obey them. You don't disrespect them, especially in public, right? And the fear could be controlled.
Is that you don't disrespect them in public, or they continue to have you fearful in public?
In general, right? So the fear is controlled by what happens when the parent feels disrespected. If you do this, they're going to beat you when you get home. And if you're a child who doesn't like that,
traumatizing.
Yes. And if you're a child who doesn't like being beaten into obedience, then you're going to
retaliate
or act out. Because in Haiti, growing up in Haiti, you don't have the luxury of retaliating or not.
There's a lot of things we didn't know growing up in Haiti, like, hormones.
There's no word for it in Haitian Creole. If there is,
I don't know it yet, but your hormone is acting. So when, as a teenager, your body is changing, things are happening in your body, and your mind, you're all over the place. And what's going on in your body is driving you crazy. And then they don't understand, as parents, they don't understand what's going on because at least they didn't learn it either. Yeah. So to regulate us or to help us regulate ourselves. So then they're still going on, which is one of the reasons I believe that Haitian parents continue, no matter how old you are, where you are in status, where you are in life, and they treat you like a kid, refer to you as a kid. Right? It's one thing to say, this is my children, but they actually talk to you like a kid, act like you're a kid. So it's just still, to me, the continuance of installing fear in you. My sister was talking to me, and then the conversation, because of the way and the nature of the conversation, I stayed quiet. And then my oldest daughter started talking to the other ones, her other siblings, like, you see, this is what happened. This is the Haitian culture. You see, her older sister is talking to her. She's not talking back. She's saying quiet. And this is what you guys to be. You don't listen. You're supposed to listen. And then there was a discussion. But it's funny to me. I know the difference between fear and respect, right? As I said before, they might look similar. But at the same time, because I was embedded, I grew up in it so long, even when I find myself, I'm hypnotized.
That's how we were brought up. We were feared to respect our elders.
I like that, fear to respect.
Yes.
Not fear to respect
our elders. I was never afraid of anyone as a child. That's the funny thing. That tactic didn't work for me. I respected you. I think what I got in that, not because I was afraid, but because somehow I knew it was the right thing to do.
To respect.
But not because I was afraid of what was going to happen to me. I was never afraid of the consequences. Because I think for the most part, I would say so. I knew that I had to respect my elder because it was a culture, not because I was afraid. Because perfect example is that I would never talk back. but not because I was afraid that I was going to get a beating. But I think behind the lessons they try to teach us, using the fear to control us, it didn't work for me, but yet I still respected people. I still respected elder. I was very outspoken, is what I can say. I was very outspoken,
which is not welcome in the Haitian. It's not for a kid.
But I was smart about how I would do it. I wouldn't do it in a way that would get me in trouble, right? So I remember people telling me that I speak too much. I need to stay silent. I need to be quiet.
I am very familiar with that.
Exactly. And so I feel like the fear didn't really work for me, but I understood it. It wasn't very traumatic because I knew if I did something wrong, I was going to get
the beat.
Exactly. So maybe that was it.
So then let's go in there right now. So maybe also for you, it was also because I do this, I do that, you're going to beat me up anyway, so this is what you're going to do. You know what I mean? So used to it, and
it could have been, but I never,
because remember there's also what is that proverb in Haiti? Dija bonjour la bonjour, pas dija bonjour la bonjour, and then do what you gotta do.
Right.
So maybe it could have been coming from there. You know what I mean? I don't like it. I'm gonna do what I need to do. I'm gonna express myself. I know I'm gonna get a beating, but I'm gonna express myself. So
I think it's also, I knew the consequences for my actions, for my behavior. So knowing, it's hard to explain. I'm looking at it, I'm thinking about
looking back
as a childhood now. I'm thinking about it. I don't think I was afraid of anyone. If anyone crossed me, I would get you back, regardless of the consequences. I wouldn't care about the consequences. If I felt crossed, I felt wronged by you, adult or kids, I would get you back.
So you were wired. Either you get, as I said, so used to, I already know what the consequences are. So what? Fear. And sometimes getting so used to, oh, well, they're going to beat the crap out of me. And so what? Right? Some kids don't like to go through that. So they get beaten into submission. They get scared, afraid to do or express themselves.
Yeah.
Because I know that I'm going to get beaten. I'm going to avoid it. Versus kids like you, how you were growing, I was like, I know it's going to happen, but I'm going to express myself anyway. So do your worst.
Right. And it's, for me, it was more like, so I'm not going to start it, but if you start it, I'm going to finish it. I was never an instigator. I was never disrespectful. But if I feel disrespected, I'm going to give it right back to you. I didn't care if you were young, old. No. If I felt crossed, it's funny now that I'm talking about it. My son is the exact same way. If he feels wronged, he doesn't care.
I see him.
Who you are.
And he's only 3.
Yes. Not even yet. He's going to be 3 soon. So if he feels crossed, it's going to be 18 months.
I've seen him with you. And you don't play.
Yes.
In a different way.
So if he feels crossed in any way, he doesn't care who you are. He's going to go after you. I could never be bullied because I would never start it. But if you start it, I'm going to finish it with you. I didn't care who you were. So I think for some people, that fear of being punished worked for them. And for me, I wouldn't say that it didn't work. I would say more like I didn't need the fear to respect people. If you just told me like this and that, I see it. I need an explanation. My daughter, she does certain things that I would consider as disrespectful at her young age. For example, when I tell her to go do something and she says no to me, I wasn't allowed to say no growing up.
I dare you.
I knew that. Yes, my Haitian, every Haitian fiber of Haitian in my being, when she says no, and on top of that, when she says no in front of other people,
there's a different twist to it when the Haitian kicks in you and your child is challenging you and saying things that you would
other people. And it's the fact that you think you can challenge me in the public? They're gonna think I'm some mama 60 guys. They don't think you have no order
in your house. The child is the one in charge.
We're so focused about what other people was gonna think versus
self-regulation and trying to teach the kids this is not how you do it because this is how they learn. So for me, the huge difference between fear and respect. When somebody is afraid of you, when you have your child or children so afraid of you, it actually takes a chunk of that relationship away because you do not know your kids when they're afraid of you. They're afraid to express themselves. Have secrets. Growing up, we all have secrets. We're all gonna do things that our parents don't know. We're all gonna do. But when it's coming out of fear, you can sit down and tell me this, describe your kids to me, but you're describing the person you put so much fear on. When they're around you, they act certain ways.
Yes.
And that you think about as respect. When they're out there, if they know you're not gonna know what they're doing, they're gonna do it.
It's a problem. I'd rather know my kid than have my kid be afraid of me.
They're gonna do it.
I rather know them. I rather them respect me because I teach them what respect is versus having to force them into respecting me because I'm the adult.
Here's one of the other thing I believe you can let me know what you think about fear. When someone is afraid of you, they don't care about what happens to you.
No.
When somebody respects you, they respect your rules, they respect who you are, they respect what you stand for, even when you're not around.
Yes.
That's the way I can put it.
Yes.
Because I was fearful of my mom, fearful of my brothers.
Till this day, I can see it. Till this day, when you're in front of her, you turned into a child. And I can see it. I'm like, who's this person? I don't even recognize you.
And my mom is double amputated in a wheelchair.
And I'm like, who is this girl?
Right? So it's just like when you create that fear, when that child is away from you, they feel so freaking free.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like they don't love you. We're going to go into that. It's not that that child doesn't love you, but that freedom away from you of telling them what to do, how to do it, how to say it, especially if there are people around, right? You want to prove something too. I have had many Haitian parents that I've been around. There are certain things they do to the kids. They do it around people with the respect. The kids feel comfortable around you. With the respect, which gonna get into what we were saying, because it takes three things to have a good relationship with your kids: love, respect, and trust.
Yes.
We build those things.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of Haitian parents who would do things to their kids, especially when they have people around, who will talk to their kids, especially when they feel confident they build their kids into obedience for so long. They feel so confident about their authoritarian parenting style. They will say anything, even grown kids. I've seen it happen so many times. They feel so confident, so comfortable to embarrass their kids and say anything and then brag about, they do what I said, how I say it, when I say it. All they need is for me to look at them. But it hurts that they don't know the damage, one, you do in that kid or those children, and two, to your relationship with this kid. Because to me, we like to call these kids angry, ungrateful, right? Because when they get to a point when they're away from us, we barely hear from them and they don't want a relationship with us. But we forget how many times we embarrass them.
Yeah.
We forget how many times you call them dumb, stupid, and they don't have a voice. We destroy that in them. The self-confidence, which actually goes into trust. The self-confidence that you as a parent supposed to install in your kid by creating fear into them. You take that.
Here's a caveat. If I am that Haitian parent who does anything to my kids in public or not, to embarrass them
and pridefully
do it, being proud of it, the thing that I could be thinking about is I'm more worried about what other people think than how my kid will feel in that moment. Now, we're not saying don't discipline your child if your child steps out in public.
Definitely not.
That's not what we're saying, but there's a way to address it. For example, if your child, but also be mindful of the age. But if you have a child who's not listening, but that depends on the age. What's the age of where the child is? How can you handle the situation without having worry how it makes you look to the public, right? You can ukabagi sabo. You can hit your child, slap your child in front of everybody, make the child feel embarrassed. But at the end of the day, what lesson is the child's gonna learn?
I can say no one stay the heck away from you in public. Depending on the age, that child and you're gonna find that there's certain activities that that child used to do or you make them do with you. They're gonna find all excuses not to do them with you anymore.
Yes.
When they get older because they don't want to be seen in public with you unless they have to.
Yes. So I think
because they don't know when you're gonna embarrass them.
You can still discipline your child in public. It's how you do it. For
Again,
example,
depending on age.
I'm still going to talk to you in a tone, and I'm gonna, for example, when my daughter acts out in public, what I will say, I'm gonna count till 3 seconds. You got 3 seconds. Regulate yourself by yourself before I get involved. Mm-hmm. You get 3 seconds, and I count. And if I get to 3, you don't change this, whatever's going on. This is what's going to happen. We're going to leave. We're going to do this. We're going to do that.
Oh, you're not going to get this or you're not going to get that.
Exactly. So I'm like, I don't like what's happening here. And I understand you're frustrated and you want to act like this. Or I understand you're excited. You can't contain your excitement. However, this is not the appropriate way to act right now. I do not like this behavior and I need you to change it. That's what I'm saying to that child right there in that moment. And I'm giving them a chance to fix it themselves instead of telling them or looking at them the wrong way.
And making them feel like they don't know who they are, how they made
it. The child may still be like, no, I'm not doing this. No, I'm not. It's still going
at a certain age, that's exactly what they do.
Right.
Age stages of development, there's certain time in the child's life at a certain age. That's what they do. They challenge you.
Exactly. And I'm like, I accept your challenge, but however, we got things we got to do and we need to do them. Mm-hmm. Right? So I'm going to give you a chance to act right. This is your one and only chance. You don't, I will pick you up. I will drag you out of that store.
Do you want me to do that?
I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to drag you out of that store. I'm happy. I don't really care how the public, as long as I'm doing it in a way that's not hurting my child. That's all I care about. I will pick you up. And I won't pick you up by your hair. I won't pick you up by a way that I know that's going to hurt you. I will pick you up, throw you on my shoulder, and we're going out.
And by that time, the child, as they grow up, they know that they have the opportunity to regulate themselves. Exactly. They have the power to do it themselves. Exactly. You give them the choice. You're a human being too. I'm going to give you that space. I'm going to give you that chance. But once it's baffling to me when a parent in public is embarrassing a grown adult child. However, they want to do it and say it to their kids in the spirit of, I want people to see that I am in charge.
That you fear me.
They do what I say, how I say. I have parents who actually will say, don't you know when you come to my house, the moment they open the door, I look at them, they run, and they're referring to grown kids. Yes, it's true. They run. But do you know how they talk about you? Do you know how they refer to you? And more importantly to me, do you know what you're doing to them?
Yeah.
Psychologically. Do you know the damage? Do you know the damage you're causing?
It doesn't matter though, because we're looking for the short term, not the long term. We're not looking at the long term, how the impact in the long term. We're looking at
there is a long term impact.
But we're not looking at it like that though, when we're being so tough, so installing fear. We're not looking at the impact at all. We're looking at what we need right now. What we need is for this child to listen, follow direction, and do whatever we telling them to do. So we're not looking at the impact. We never look at the impact because the impact doesn't matter because
it's not what we care about.
It's not that we don't care about it.
Not the psychological impact because we don't see it. At the moment, we want people to know and feel and know that we in charge.
Right. Follow for part 2.